Getting in the right mindset for weight loss is absolutely critical for your success. So today I'm going to give you 8 tips to crush your weight loss goals. Hey, this is Colin DeWay. If you want to master your metabolism and create forever results, start now by subscribing and click on that bell notification so you don't miss anything. Alright, if you've ever tried to lose weight before, you know how critical it is to have the right mindset. So stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to give you 8 tips that you can implement right away to make dieting easier and more successful. And that last tip is definitely the most important. Alright, tip number 1, do not look at taking care of yourself as some form of punishment. So many people look at self-discipline as some form of self-punishment, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Self-discipline is self-love. It means that you love yourself enough to do the things that you know you should do to take care of yourself. It's not punishment that you don't get to eat that entire pizza. It's self-love that you don't eat that entire pizza to take care of your body. If you look at your decisions as something negative, you're just that much more likely to rebel against it, which, speaking of decisions, that's actually tip number 2. You need to decide that this is something that you want to do. So many people fall into, well, I'll just try and see what happens. But the problem with that mindset is you're basically saying, I'll try it until it gets too hard and then I'm going to give up. The problem is it's always going to get hard at a certain point. And really, honestly, that's not necessarily a bad thing because, in my opinion, struggles are what change us for the better. They're what make us stronger. The biggest and most overlooked factor when it comes to physical changes is what it actually does for your mind. And that's not just because you look better, it's because of what you did and what you overcame to get there. It's the means to the end that truly changes you and not the end itself. The more difficult the process is and the more things that you accomplish that you didn't think were possible, the more empowered you become and the more that confidence carries over into everything else in your life. And some quick shortcut to weight loss not only never lasts, but you actually never end up happy from it because earning it is what makes you happy. I mean, think about it. When has something that's been easy ever really truly changed you? Nothing in life worth having ever comes easy. And when you decide instead of try, something really powerful happens. And that perfectly leads me into tip number 3, which is don't look at taking care of yourself as optional anymore. It seems so simple, but when you look at things like taking care of yourself and getting your workouts in as not optional anymore, it completely changes everything. It just becomes a part of your life. It just becomes a part of your routine. Just like brushing your teeth before you go to bed, it's just something that happens automatically because it's what you do. I personally recommend scheduling in your workouts just like you would schedule in any important meeting and block off that time. Unscheduled time just has a tendency to go away and we don't even know what happened with it. And once you get into this routine, you don't even have to force yourself into the gym anymore because it's just something that you do. You don't even have to think about it. And time no longer becomes an excuse because there's always time for the things that are most important to us. And that's a bonus tip for you. Don't look at it as not having time. Look at it as not being a priority in your life. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's about prioritizing the things that are most important to you. And if there's anything in our life that shouldn't be optional, it's our own health, right? If you stop letting your own well-being be optional, everything changes. Tip number 4 is to stop making decisions based on your emotions and feelings, and this is a huge one that destroys a lot of people. This is probably the single biggest change that I personally made that helped me out tremendously. Now, I'm not saying don't have emotions and don't have feelings. That's not really something you can control. What I'm saying is you don't have to act on those emotions and feelings. Your feelings are absolutely real, and the reason I know they're real is because you're feeling them. However, you have to understand that behind every feeling is a thought, and most of the time our thoughts aren't even true. They're usually just some story we make up in our own mind and decide that it's true, and let's be honest, usually it'll make ourselves feel better about giving up on something. And trust me, I get it, but emotions and feelings have no business in decision making. Instead, rely on habits and rituals. Do this instead. Do the thing that you said you would do prior to having these emotions and feelings. If you always do that, it becomes almost impossible not to reach your goals. At the end of emotions and feelings is failure, but at the end of habits and rituals is success. Now, tip number 5 kind of goes hand in hand with tip number 4, and that is detach yourself from your results. Results have no business changing your habits and rituals. Lack of results can be the very thing that triggers your emotions and feelings, but you have to understand getting great results is always going to be tough and things are going to stall. That doesn't mean it's not worth it, and yes, you're probably going to have to make some changes, but that just means you change, not give up completely. Just because you're not getting the results you want doesn't mean that the goal changes. In fact, this is going to sound a little bit harsh, but I mean it in a way to truly help you, and that is if you're going to give up, because it gets too difficult, you're literally better off not even starting to begin with. And I say this because at some point it will stop working, it is going to get difficult, but the yo-yo dieting is what destroys people's metabolisms and makes it almost impossible to lose weight. So start when you're ready to go all in and keep pushing no matter how hard it gets. Now that doesn't mean that there aren't times to stop dieting and focus on something like a reverse diet, but it does mean you can't give up completely and go back to your old habits. The all or nothing approach is no good, and that's an old version of you. You're not going to do that anymore. You are going to do things different this time. Remember that high expectations can actually be really dangerous because usually our happiness is the difference between what we expect and what we get. So appreciate the progress that you make no matter how small it is, and you'll be much happier, and if you're happier, you're more likely to continue going and see better results. And that brings me to tip number 6, which is appreciate whatever phase you're in for what it is. Whether you're in a reverse diet to improve your metabolism or whether you're in a fat loss phase, appreciate that phase. Too many people get caught up in the grass is always greener approach, and it absolutely kills them. There are positives and negatives to each phase, so make sure that you learn to appreciate the positives of whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. So if you're in a reverse diet, appreciate that you get to eat more food, that you have more energy, that you're feeling stronger, that you're sleeping better, that you're just feeling better in general, and on and on. Don't constantly think about how you wish you were losing weight, because then you're focusing on something that's not even the focus of your current phase, and that will drive you insane. Then on the flip side, when you're in a fat loss phase, appreciate that you're making progress. Enjoy the changes in body composition, and don't focus on how you wish you could eat more food and had more energy and all the stuff that you should have been focusing on when you're in the reverse diet. If you're always focusing on the opposite of what you're trying to do, you will never be happy, and the grass is always greener approach absolutely kills people. Do not let this be you. Tip number 7, when you're in a fat loss phase and you have to make changes because things have stalled, do not look at this as a bad thing, but look at it as a good thing. One of the biggest things that I've noticed in clients of mine who have the best success is whenever I have to drop their calories and or increase their cardio, they get excited about it. They basically look at it as, hey, I get to make more progress now, I'm gonna get some results, and that's awesome. The ones that don't do well usually get really upset about it and get really sad that I'm taking away their food, and even beg me not to take their food away even though they're totally stuck. So you have to ask yourself, would you rather be stuck or would you rather make some changes and start seeing progress again? Remember, your metabolism is adaptive and it will change to whatever you do, so nothing will ever work forever and you're going to have to make changes over time. So when you hit a plateau, and this is when, not if, when you have to make some changes, look at it as a good thing, and this will change things completely with your mindset and you'll be in a way better place. And if you're in a better place mentally, you're much more likely to reach your goals because you won't be fighting yourself the whole time. Alright, the 8th tip, like I said, this is the most important one. This is the thing that I find destroys so many people. And that is, you have to accept reality for what it is if you want success. So what do I mean by that? Well, basically, you probably have certain circumstances and situations in your life that you probably don't like, that probably make it more difficult to see results and stick to the plan. However, it's so important to just accept that that is your reality, because anytime you fight reality, you're going to lose. Think about it. If it's something that you can't change, if it's totally out of your control, and you use it as your reason why you can't do it, you're never going to succeed. It can either be a part of your powerful success story, or it can be your reason why you can't do it. It's totally up to you. So whether that's an unsupportive family, or a really stressful job that you're not willing to give up, or some type of medical condition that makes it really difficult, or any circumstance that's out there that is out of your control, you have to make peace that this is your reality and it's something you're going to have to deal with. I'm not saying this is an easy thing to do, but I am saying it is something you have to do if you want to see success. If you try to fight reality, you will lose every single time, so accept it and move forward and control what you can control. By the way, if you don't know how to adjust your food intake as fat loss stalls and you can't see results anymore and you just don't know how to make adjustments, make sure you check out this video and I will show you exactly how to make adjustments through your cutting phase, including from the start of your diet and through every single plateau that you hit, so you can reach your long-term weight loss goals. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and I will see you next time.